Hey, Shad here with Speed-Addicts, the fastest growing gear site on the web, and today we're going to uncrate the Arai Signet-X and Quantum-X. What's up, Speed-Addicts family? Before we jump in and tell you all about some killer Arai lids, do me a favor and subscribe to the Speed-Addicts channel. That helps us keep bringing you the best gear reviews in the universe, of course. And if you decide you'd like to purchase a helmet from us here at Speed-Addicts, we make it real easy. There's a link in the description below to shop for Arai, Signet-X, or Quantum-X, as well as any other parts or gear you might need for your next two-wheel adventure. So, Arai, 70 years of helmet making experience. Forever known as the gold standard when it comes to safety and quality. They really do know what they're doing over there. The proof's in the pudding. This is like professional grade stuff. If you've never owned an Arai helmet, it's hard to explain it, but I guess the best analogy I would give you is that it's really like picking up a Ryobi versus like a Makita. You know, we're talking professional grade. Sure, they're both hand drills, but you know, when you pick up that Makita, it just feels like a different animal. That's true with Arai. Now, we're talking about the Signet-X and Quantum-X today. These are different head shapes, but the same helmet. So the feature set, everything about the helmet is the same. The Quantum-X is the round oval fit, and the Signet-X is the long oval fit. So these are outliers in the head shape game. They are the same otherwise, and so we're just gonna show you, this is a Quantum-X on the table, but suffice to say the Signet-X is identical when it comes to features, okay? So who would we recommend this helmet for, or these helmets for? Well, number one, it's gonna be the head shape. We're gonna come back to that later. But in terms of what you're riding, it doesn't matter pretty much any street application. If you want a really quality piece of headwear, you're gonna be at home in either the Signet-X or Quantum-X. So it doesn't matter, sport touring, sport, even V-twin guys, you name it, naked bikes, you're all gonna dig this helmet, okay? It's really good in any riding position. Now, where it falls on the Arai helmet lineup, they really have kind of 5 street helmets at the moment. Up at the top, their Hypersport helmet, that's the Corsair X. Now, this helmet has a lot of the same features of the Corsair, except the more dramatic aero work that really only pays dividends when you're talking about speeds over 100 miles an hour. So that helmet is most at home on the track. Below the Corsair X, you're gonna have the Signet-X and Quantum-X helmets. That's what we're talking about here today. Again, these are for the outliers when it comes to head shape, round oval, intermediate oval. Or sorry, round oval, long oval. If you have an intermediate oval head, then you should look at the new Contour X, right around the same price range. And then, of course, they have the Regent X, which is also intermediate oval, but a fair bit less money. That starts at right around $500. So if you're looking to get into an Arai helmet on a budget, check out that Regent X. Okay, so back to what we're talking about here. Let's talk about the head shape. That's the main qualifier when we're talking about the Signet-X and Quantum-X. Again, Quantum-X, round oval. How do you know if you have a round oval head? Well, when you try on helmets at the store, you're gonna notice, or you know, you've tried on helmets over the years, you're gonna notice that it's pushing on the side of your head. The helmet is too narrow for you, okay? That's when you're gonna wanna go with the Quantum. Signet-X, long oval. Every helmet you try on just smashes your forehead. That's when you're gonna reach for the Signet-X, okay? You guys are the outliers. It's probably about 5% of the US helmet market either needs a round oval or a long oval. Everyone else is in an intermediate oval. So that's why Arai has made these helmets just for you guys. Now, when it comes to the price range, of course, you're gonna see that Arai price tag. Solid colors start at $719. Graphics go all the way up to $849. Not inexpensive, but where you see it falling against its competitors now, it's actually pretty fair. You see prices from other premium brands, the top of the line stuff from Shoei or Bell, or even the high-end HJC stuff is all creeping up towards that $1,000 price point. So Arai is no longer in a class of its own in terms of the price tag, but they still have that Arai quality I'm gonna tell you all about today. So, Arai does not make polycarbonate or plastic shells. They only make their composite shell. The Signet and Quantum both use the PBS CLC composite shell. This is their proprietary complex laminate construction. Very strong, very lightweight, and that R75 shape that is a nice egg or spherical shape. More on that later. Weight, 3.5 pounds, making it kind of average in terms of weight. And when we're talking about homologations, it's gonna be Snell 2020 and DOT. Now, when I asked Arai about safety homologations these days. A lot of other brands I talk to are scrambling to meet the new ECE 2206 homologations for these brands that are selling in Europe. A lot of them are dual labeling here in the US. I'm asking Arai, how are they handling that? Are they redesigning or worried about passing these new standards? And they said, no, our helmets would always pass that. We build to our experience, not the test. So while some other brands are racing to improve their performance for specific tests, Arai has that 70 years of experience, both on the street and racing, and they just build to the next level of safety. Actually, in 2019, they won the FIM gold medal. So safety is their #1 priority. We already talked about the head shape. 5 shell sizes, that's always the Arai formula. More shell sizes means you're wearing less helmet, hopefully. Whereas some other brands only use maybe 2 or 3 shell sizes. You end up looking like Jack in the Box wearing too much helmet. Arai, you're gonna get a bespoke shell size for virtually every size in the lineup except for medium and large. Those are gonna share a common shell. In the US, you're gonna see sizes extra small through to extra large. Arai runs very true, if not a touch big. So I recommend going by that Arai sizing chart. If you're between sizes, round down. You can fine tune this helmet with different headliners and cheek pads, which are all interchangeable. We'll show you that when we break this helmet down. So there are lots of fine tuning options. Remember, when you're investing this kind of dough in a helmet, you should really shop with us at Speed Addicts because we're gonna offer you no cost returns. All you have to do to qualify is live in lower 48 states. Make sure the helmet is brand new, original condition with all the manuals, accessories, all that good stuff still in there. A couple clicks, you get a free return label. So when you're shelling out this kind of money, make sure you shop with an authorized dealer like ourselves and someone that has an awesome return policy. Okay, enough with my shameless plugs. Let's dive in and take a closer look at this Quantum X here before me. When it comes to the shape, R75 shape, that's the radius of the sphere that they're working with here. You're gonna always see that nice egg or spherical shape from Arai. They will never do trendy, dramatic, which can be cool looking. I'm not gonna say that some of the helmets with the bigger angles or the bigger aero packages don't look cool or perform well in a wind tunnel, but Arai is dedicated to getting your helmet to glance off objects in case of an accident, and the way to do that is with this spherical shape. They found this to be the safest shape. They're going to stick to that, and that is some of their secret sauce. So when this thing hits something, it's going to glance off instead of getting hung up on an angle or some sort of dramatic shape that another brand might put into their helmet. All the trim pieces are also made to shear off in case of an accident. Doesn't matter if it's a vent or a GoPro mount, if it's not meant to shear off, it can grab when you hit. It's gonna transfer energy inside the helmet. We don't want to do the energy battle inside the helmet if we can avoid it. If we can keep that energy from transferring into where your head is, that is the name of the game when it comes to Arai. Last note on build quality, something I learned recently when I was talking to the guys at Arai, they actually have separate buildings for the build versus the quality control, and they don't let the employees mix. They're that dedicated to quality control that they don't want relationships and people to do themselves or do their friends a favor and pass a helmet that maybe shouldn't be. So they just take that stuff really seriously. Okay, let's get into the ventilation here. They do ventilation a little bit differently too. So the top vents start way up high here. So you notice big ram air vents. You've got that 10 millimeter hole there. And these are 3 positions. So they're either closed, halfway open, or all the way open. So the ventilation for Arai does actually lend itself well to cold weather riding because you can't totally close all the ventilation off. I'm gonna show you more about that in a minute. You notice there are no crown vents. Putting holes in your shell near the opening like this subjects your shell to cracking if it gets hit in a certain way here. So to get ventilation to your temple areas, they use this venting system that's built into the shield. If you open up the shield, you'll notice they have ducts that's gonna ram that cool air in right into your temples, help keep you cool and keep you from making mistakes. Chin bar vent, 3 position, all the way open, halfway closed, or all the way closed, so totally tunable chin bar ventilation as well. On the back, you have your exhaust vents here that are also 3 position. So you got a middle setting all the way closed. Most manufacturers do not offer switchable vents on the exhaust ports back here. It's really nice in case it is cold, you can totally shut this thing down. The only vents that you cannot close are these winglet vents down here on the bottom. These are passive, and then your rear neck roll vent which helps kind of extract some of that moist, warm air from inside the helmet and get it out. So great ventilation package. We'll show you from the inside out how it's ported into the EPS a little bit later. All Arai helmets are eyeglasses compatible. That's another thing they don't make a big deal about, but they've been doing for a very long time. You can see those little channels right there. You have a nose guard, you have a little bit of a blower that pushes air up onto the visor. Also included with Quantum and Signet-X helmets, you're gonna get that pin lock insert. The clear shield that's included is pin lock ready. You can see that little nipple there. The shield itself is not treated with any sort of anti-fog, so if you ride in any sort of cool temps, this is gonna be a have to. This lens installs on the inside of the face shield, making it a dual pane system to reduce or mitigate fog. Okay, in terms of the face shield, this is their VAS face shield system. It's the same one that they're using on the Corsair X. It is a real nice face shield. So all the way locked, right? You wanna open it, you're gonna engage the switch, just lift up, okay? That's their demist setting. That's gonna allow a little bit of air to creep in, help keep your visor cool, or help keep your face cool. Now, if you wanna move up, so that's your second position. You wanna move up from there, you're gonna lift up and out, all right? That's your next stop. So there's not a bunch of ratchet detents in the middle. So you got demist, all the way closed, or up, and then your final open position. Now, the dreaded side pods. They've made them quite a bit better. Previous versions of Arai helmets had pods that you either had to leave on and fly blind with installing the shield. No more. You can pop these off by pushing the button here. Whoops. This one's new, so it's a little tight. Okay. No tool required. You just press the release. Once you press the release, the face shield is bumped into a position where it's going to want to move out. Here we go. It's going to lift that tab, and then you can lift it up into the red. Once it's in the red, it's going to come off. Very straightforward here. And then you put it back onto the red to get it back on in the closed position. Whoops. And then, I'm going to go ahead and open it, and then we're back in business. So you play with this a few times, you get it down. The side pod is also now held in place with the cable, so you don't have to worry about those ejecting and being lost on the road, especially on a helmet that's been discontinued. They don't make the graphic anymore. That was very frustrating. You'd have to have a mismatch. No more. They've improved the system quite a bit. Now, why the side pods, Arai? Why? I've actually finally learned the whole point of doing the side pods is so that they don't have to make an indent that's deep into the helmet to hide a ratcheting system or some of the other kind of systems that you see from the other manufacturers. Those require more thickness, and they require that mechanism to push inside of the helmet. That's an obstruction. It's something that you could hit in case of an accident. In short, it's less safe to do it that way. So you see how shallow this recess is. They really build this thin, your pivot kit, and it's the safest way to do it. That's why we're still dealing with the pods. Now, I'm gonna hook this up on top. So the top goes first. Oops, sorry, open position always. There we go, we're in place. All right, that is the face shield mechanism. Okay, let's flip this guy over and see what we're working with on the inside. The professional quality, professional grade feel, look, and smell, it all transfers to the inside of every Arai helmet. Very plush, very nice place to be, especially if you're one of these folks that are an outlier when it comes to head shape. You've been taking your round oval or your long oval head and smushing it into an intermediate oval. You're gonna be stoked that this thing actually fits you. But more than that, it is really, really nice place to be. Okay, chin curtain. To get the chin curtain off, if you don't wanna run this, you're gonna grab it and slide it sideways. It's gonna come out. The neck roll works the same way, but I'd recommend using it unless it's making you too hot. It's gonna keep the weather out, keep the noise out, making it a nicer experience. So I'm gonna slide that out. That's what that looks like. You got a couple of tabs. That's why it's important to slide it sideways and then pull it out, otherwise you'll break tabs off. Okay, now this cannot be removed. It's gonna help with airflow, okay? Moving around the bottom of the helmet. It's gonna help with water kind of kicking up in once it falls off the lip, but you can push it back up out of the way. You do have emergency quick release cheek pads by pulling those tabs if EMS has to get you out of the helmet a little bit more gingerly. We're gonna use a no quick release ever from Arai. You're not gonna see that. They're gonna stick to those D-rings. And to get the cheek pads out, on Arai helmets, the cheek pads are part of the EPS. This is not like a snapping system. This is all one big chunk. You're gonna have to grab and pull it backwards. Grab that front end, pull it backwards, and then you can pull it out. Now the neck roll is tied in here, So I'm going to detach the neck roll. It's got a little tab. Okay, this is just like the Corsair situation. Here is your cheek pad. All the cheek pads from Arai are interchangeable. You can run different sizes. So when you're test fitting an Arai helmet, very important to focus on the crown fit because the face fit can be adjusted. A lot of times when you're trained by Arai, they're going to have you fit the helmet without the cheek pads in it at all, so you can really focus on how it fits your crown. Because a thick or thin cheek pad can kind of throw off your whole judgment on how the helmet's fitting. Okay, now just like the Corsair X, you do have a removable layer here. This gray layer can be peeled off if the cheek pad is too thick. I'd encourage you not to do that until after you've allowed for break-in. If you break in, the helmet is still too thick, you can kind of remove a layer. If you need to make it thicker, you need to purchase a different set of cheek pads. That's a different story, but it allows for some customization. Here is the little punch out for a speaker pocket. You just peel that out of the way. You plug in your speaker, run the wire underneath the sock, and you have a really nice concealed installation of your comm system. The comm system does fit fine, even though there is this hyper ridge along the bottom of most Arai helmets. You can either use a clamp style or adhesive style. You won't have any problems. You've got your speaker pockets. Comms are no issue. Now, this hyper ridge is meant to be a shock absorber. If you take a nice hit on the bottom edge of the helmet, instead of cracking, this hyper ridge is going to help absorb that because the opening is always a vulnerable point in helmet shell construction. Okay, let's pull out this bottom cheek pad here. We're going to show you the rest of the system. Here's your other cheek pad again. It's got a little tab with the neck roll. To remove the neck roll, we're just going to slide it sideways slightly, and it should come right out. You can buy these. This is the part of the helmet that usually gets tore up when you set it down on rough surfaces, so if you want to refurbish. And you do have that nice little ejector here to help get some of that hot, moist air out of the helmet. Okay, here's your interior liner. This is a snap system. Whenever you're removing a helmet liner from the EPS, you want to get your finger right next to the snap and leverage it gently. Don't just go yank on these, because if you pull the female side out of the EPS, the helmet is trash. You'll be up a creek. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to remove these very carefully, especially when a helmet's new. They tend to be a little tight, so just be gentle and kind of leverage it out. Okay, Arai headliners, very involved system here. Lots of different panels, lots of craftsmanship. You're going to notice that round oval tag. That lets you know that it is a quantum. There you go, that round oval tag. Otherwise, you got mesh, you got antimicrobial fabrics, but you do also have some adjustment. So this will help you determine the tension and how the helmet's sitting on your head if you need to adjust it. It's got 3 positions so that you can center your eyes right in the middle of the eye port of the Arai. That's how they recommend that you fit the helmet. And there are a few different adjustments you can make here. You can remove some of this material, this foam material on both sides, and there are a few different sizes. Now, the liners are shell dependent, so you need to look more carefully at the liner guide or talk to one of our representatives here if you are going to make adjustments to your headliner. The Arai EPS, one of the most closely guarded secrets over at Arai, they have a one-piece EPS. You notice there are no seams, there are no channels, there are no edges to this. They take one piece of multi-density EPS and somehow get it in through the opening. This is a secret place in the factory. They don't let any guests in there. This is one of their trade secrets here. But the result is that you don't have multiple pieces. When you have a multi-piece EPS, you have seams. It's not going to be as strong if you impact on a seam like that. So they go with the one piece. The EPS liner is tuned for each individual shell size and size. Now, the shell is tuned as well. They account for a heavier, larger head when they tune the shell, how much flex it's going to have, how much give the EPS is going to give, right down to like the different parts of the EPS. In here around the eye opening, they reinforce or they use a denser material because it is around the opening. You know, if we got the people from Arai in here, I'm sure they could spend an hour talking to you about all that. The point is safety's number one, and the EPS is the heart of that mechanism here. So you see the Snell 2020 as well. That about does it for the Arai Quantum X Signet-X helmets. You're gonna get a 5-year warranty from Arai. That is 3 years longer than the industry standard. So they're gonna protect your investment for virtually the entire useful life of the helmet. Now, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Arai. If I miss something, you still have questions, don't worry. Rider support is standing by over at speedaddicts.com. Yes, you can talk to a human over there through the phone, email, or live chat. If you've already got one of these, which is likely, these have been out for a minute, let us know how you like them. Don't take my word for it. Hit us in the comment section below. That does it. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next time to find out what's in the crate.